So after the relational operations, the other one is 02 logical operations. And if I delve into the logical operations, we can discuss that. In logical operations, let me create a logical ops.ipynd IPython notebook file. So if you want to create something like this, what is a logic? Logic means what? Some logic between them, right? Till now we have seen the relational operations. Then how different are these logical operations? How they can help us? So first thing, we create a markdown file, you write it. You see, logic means you have two relations or three relations. You want to combine them. When you're combining, you you make a logic between them, like AND logic, OR logic, or not. Means sometimes if a person is coming to the office and he is carrying the ID card, only then allow him. The same person, same ID, his own ID card only should come, right? In that case, both are AND condition. Say, sometimes, let's say someone is going for a grocery store and making an order. So means online made an order, and if you go there, it doesn't matter that you go specifically or someone else go on your behalf, the order will be given, right? Grocery stores. So if the same thing, if it is pharmacy, so they will expect you to be there, or like that. So end condition or condition, in real world we get a lot of use cases. The same thing works. So first, how these things work in the backend, I will tell. Then how we can use in real time, I will tell. So in the backend, they were like simply code. Code means there will be only two things. One, the Boolean. Even previously you saw the relational operations. You say something is greater, something is less than. When you're telling a relation, if it is correct, it says true. If not, it says false. Means you are getting Boolean result only. So here in logical operations also, it will work with Booleans. So hope you remember these AND operations you studied in your schooling or in your classes. If you can see, like AND operation means if there are two or more, all are true, it will be result is true. That is AND operation. If at least one of them is false, result is false, right? Whereas OR is like a optimistic, means at least one of them is true, it will be true. If all were false, only then it will be false, right? So that is about it. And whereas in not means negating the previous result. We can have the previous result. Let's say not true means what? It is false. Not false means what? It is true. Not true means not true will become false. Again false means like double relation. So it will be again true. So 2 times means the same thing. So the 3 times means like that. So not means it will negate the existing value. So like that I can go how much big not? I can go for a very big not also. You see? Not. You can have any number of nots. So Python is a crazy language where you can have multiple relations, multiple logics, all can be done very simply. So that's what they made it easy. I don't know which any other language supports this much easily things, but Python is a crazy language. Okay, you understood how the backend works. Now to understand how the work we can do in a real world scenarios. Real world means, let's take an example. I have an expression, say expression 2 is equal to 45 less than or equal to 45 or 3 less than or equal to 333. Now, every logical operation will give true or false, right? So, but now we will understand and decode why it happened so. First, let's see the output and then decide. If I execute, I got true. But how I got true? If you decode, you will understand. Take the first example. So 45 less than or equal to 45. Is it correct or not? It is not less, but it is equal. So it is true. or 3 is greater than 333. Is 3
False.
greater than 333?
False.
False. You write false. Now tell me how the OR operation works. At least one of them is true. The result is true, right?
Yes.
So the result should be true. So don't you see that you got it same true? Fine. Hope you understood how logics are working.
Yes.
Let me take one more example. Now you should tell me this time. Say expression is there. Before even printing, I'm asking you. Is 45 less than or equal to 45? It's not less, but it is equal. So true. And R, is 3 greater than 333? No, false. And I'm going for a end operation. And 9 equal to 9. Yes, it is true. Okay, now you got one more problem. What is the operator precedence? Am I right?
Yes.
Operator precedence. Operator precedence means you have like PEMDAS, but PEMDAS is for basic arithmetics. If you go beyond, so you can check the file which I give in arithmetic operations. You have operator precedence. So whenever end and or are there, which one takes place first? So every time, so either it is bitwise or Boolean operations, the same thing. So in Boolean operations, end will take place first, followed by R. So first end will happen. That's what you understood? So end will happen first means, now in the next line, what will happen? If I can decode, the same true and same R.
False.
Coming to the end operation, false and true means what?
False.
False.
False. Because like end operation, every time expects all to be true. Now you got true or false. Or expects at least one true, right?
Yeah.
So it is a true. If I say, hey, print expression 3, maybe like I want to use this time F string. How do you do F string assignments? I can do directly, right? F string assignments. So you got the answer 3. I think it's interesting for everyone. Now let's wrap up with 2 more examples. This time I added braces to make the things complicated. Let's do the same braces, and within that you can see. So this is the braces. We can see. Is 45 less than or equal to 45? Yes, true. And coming to the R, is 3 greater than 333? False. Okay. And we have an end operation. And is 9 greater than or equal to so and so? True. So we have this as an operation. Now you are enforcing that OR operation should first happen, then followed by the other one. So if our operation happens like only 2 values are there, but OR only is there. So OR means at least one of them true, result is true. And you have an end. And you have true. End means all should be true. Here all are true, so result should be true. If I say print of F string of within it, F string assignment I can do 4 equal to. Did you see? Small difference in logic. Did you see how things changed? And one last example. You see now. So in this case, see here. Again, 44 less than or equal to 44. Yes, true. And here an OR operation. Is 3 greater than 3? False. And here an OR operation. Is 9 equal to 9? True. Fine. Now come to the picture. Another last thing. So here no operator precedence comes to picture. Here both are OR operations only. Okay, sir, if R is there, everything will happen the same way. Even then say, if you want to be aware, which for loop, which OR operation takes place first? There is a saying thing for that. Execution takes place from top to bottom, left to right in Python. So this OR execution first, and next to the result will be ORed with that. Of course, it doesn't matter, the same thing. When you're doing an OR operation, if there are more, so if at least one of them is true, then result is true, right? No matter who is there, it will execute. The result is true. Just for you to be understanding only, I told that. If I say print expression 5, you get the true. Hope it's clear how the logics are working. If I go further, say one more real world examples. Um, in the logical operations, so there is one more thing called as chaining of the relational operations. If I say chaining of the relational operations, how it works, let's see. Chaining of the relational operations means we can have relations, let's say something like 23 less than 73 less than 45. But how it is happening in the backend means it will convert this to a logic like this. Whatever you give, it will convert first like this. Because if you give multiple relations, all relations should satisfy, right? That's why end. Why they just placed end means all should satisfy. That's why it is end. Now coming to this, if I have two cases, is 23 less than 73? True. And is 73 less than 45? False, right? False. And end operation means if at least one of them is false, the result is false. So all should be true, right? So that's the reason you got it. It's a common sense for you to understand, right? But still, how computer works, I'm telling. And if you have like multiple relations, say I have something like this, you can understand when you have a relation, say I have something like this. You see, is 89 less than 73? No, it is initially false itself. Means if you have a condition, everything should be satisfied, only then the result will be correct. If I say 0 less than 73, yes. Is 73 less than 99? Yes. And similarly, if I go for a bigger case, say if I go something like this, 89 less than 73 less than 99 less than 999 less than 0. If I do like this, something, say like this till here, it will be like this because, so there's a 0, right? So if I say 0 before it, so it will work exactly. And after that, like, if all were correct and even still, so I give one wrong. Obviously, end operation means it expects everything to be true, right? That's what you need to understand. Similarly, not only this less than or equal to, we can compare with other operators also, like equal to, not equal to, or a combination of one equal to, one not equal to, or like whatever you want. And one last thing about Python, which you will feel like, magic down the line when you are learning, maybe when your seniors were writing a better code, you can see from there that there is some concept called as short circuiting. Maybe it seems silly. Short circuit means what? Generally, short circuit means what you hear. So instead of the proper way, suddenly it got like, connected fastly, right? Means something you can think like doing things fast. Means instead of doing all entirely, doing the things much faster. So how the short circuiting works in Python? So that I want to tell you simply. So simply for you to understand is that if I say, for you to understand, if I say 0 and 1, what will be the answer? It will say 0. And similarly, if I say 3 and 9, I will get 3. What do you mean by this, sir? What I want to tell from it? Say I'm giving a third answer. I'm doing multiple AND operations. This time I'm saying 3 and 9 and 13. I am getting the last value, which is 13. Did you all understand what I'm trying to say? So when you're doing an AND operation, so if any one is like 0, you get 0. If nothing is 0, you get the last value. Means like it will process till the last. AND operation every time will process till the last operation. You see, if I say 3 and 13 and 9, whichever is the last value it will give. It's not like whichever is the highest, whichever is the last thing. In the same fashion, say if I go, this very few people know about this short circuiting. So we need to do some research to understand. So if I say 3 and 0 and 13 and 9, though you have 9 at the last, so but like in middle you have 0, right? So that's what you need to understand. Means with this you can understand clearly. The moment is 0 means a Boolean 0 values are coming. So 0 has a value of false actually. I will tell you next line. After that you will understand. Whenever a false value is encountered in a end operations, it will stop their execution. It will not do multiple things. If there were no, so then it will execute all. Now let's take the example of another thing. This time if I show for OR operations, and observe carefully in one shot, when you do an OR operation, when even 0 is there, so you got 1, right? If I get 3 and 9, I got the minimum value 3. Means it will stop at the first valid one, first non-zero value it will stop. So if you say 0 and 9, it will stop at the first non-zero value. Means first true value it will stop. Means short circuiting reason is simple. When you have multiple ends or multiple R's, so if you want end to validate, everything should be true. But if you want R to be valid, at least one of them is true, it's fine. I will tell you with the real world practical examples also afterwards, but it needs some kind of stomach to understand. So that's why I'm telling all these things. See, multiple ends, multiple R's, I'm showing for you to better understand. In the same fashion, if I do for R, I told you, it will stop at the first non-zero value from left to right when it is executing. And if you have like multiples with braces and all these things also, I told how PEMDAS and other operations works, right? You can work in that lines. Good that now you understood about logical operations. Now going back, let me create one more folder for the Boolean operations. mkdir Boolean operations. If I go on to the Boolean operations, so you can see now we have after this Boolean operations. If I say like, IPYNB, what are the Boolean operations? So till now indirectly you're using Booleans only, right? So now let's go ahead into this and see further. If I say Booleans, Boolean means there are two things, two keywords called as true and false. Why I'm calling keywords? Because those values have some importance in Python, which you are using. So what is this, true and false helping us? How we can work with that? Hope you remember, I told you like when you create any variable. So in say, if I say choice equal to say true. True is a built-in keyword. It has some meaning. So once an object is created, it will have like the value, type, and address location. That's how I told, right? If you execute also, you will encounter the same. In the same fashion, if I execute like, choice equal to false, you got some address location, fine. But true and false, all these things are built-in objects. So the moment Python is up, it will have all the memory ready. So it will have an address location. That's why built-in objects has a different location. And now coming to the case of this one, as I told, it's a keyword. We cannot assign to it anything. That we know. But if you really want to assign, you can change the thing. As Python is a case sensitive, we can replace and use some other thing. Of course, it is not recommended to use like that. So even if you do, but it is possible. Say the same Uday, I want to assign to again the choice, which I created the same variable. Because Python is a dynamic typing language, we can do that. And if I execute, did you see the string is there and address location is different? Every time the built-in object's address location is slightly different from use the different objects. This is another thing that I want to do. And after that, going further, as you know, like every object will have a values and data types for you to understand. So here also we'll have like that. And object-oriented program means these three only, right? An address location, value, and data type. And now, if you want to get the address locations, as I told you just now, if I compare the address locations of this built-in and or user-defined variables, those are very far apart. And similarly, if you see the types also, I showed the types. One is a string, other one is a boolean. And one interesting part that I want to tell. So if you remember in the first class, I told in the integer family, we have 4 kinds of data types at home. Hope you remember? In the integer family, we have like 5, right? Int, long is no more there, float is there, and complex is there. And I told boolean is also an integer family. Why it is called as integer family, I will tell you shortly now. Say, if I say true and print it, it says true. Where if I say true and multiply by 1, you got 1. And if I say true and multiply by some number, point so and so, I got it. With these 3 examples, what you understood? For any number, if you multiply by anything, if you're getting the same number, don't you think it is having a value of 1 in the bracket? Of course, right? Similarly, let me take the example of a false. If I just print false, it will do like that. If I say false into, say, 8, it will say 0. And if I say the same false, so into some other number, it will say 0. Don't you think that, false has a value of 0 in the bracket? Not only multiplications, you can do like, say true plus 1, it will give 2 because 1 plus 1 is 2, right? If I say false, so plus same 6 if I give, it will say 6 because 0 plus 6 is the same. Means this is one thing interesting. These booleans, when they are working with arithmetic operations, they work like 0 or 1. But if you are checking like with the relational operations now I want to check whether true is having a value of 1 in the backend. If you check it, hey, is the value in terms of value, are true and 1 equal? Yes. Are true and 3 equal? False. So 2 and 3 are not equal? Yes. Means you can do a relational operation to check whatever you learned till now, you are just evaluating immediately. So for the false also you are checking, is false equal to 0? Is false not equal to 0? Like that. And in the same fashion, not only the absolute, even 1.0 like that floating point values. So 1.0 and 1 are like both same, right? So that's why you got it. And similarly, if I ask, hey, is true equal to 1.1? Then it says false. It is equal to 1, but not 1.1, right? So now you understood. So one interesting point you need to understand is, during the arithmetic operations, strings true acts like a 1 and false acts like a 0 during arithmetic operations. So that we should be aware. Okay. Hope it's clear. So now we understood. Now let me take a small example for you to understand. This is one of the interview question which was asked. str of true into 1, is it equal to str of 1? But if you say it is true, str of true into 1 and str, is it 1? Yes. But if you ask like, hey, str of 1, it says 1. str of true, if you say 1, right? Now, if I say the same str of true and str of 1, but it says false. Observe carefully what I'm trying to say. Just str of true is not equal to str of 1. Because if you convert string to boolean to a string, it will be string as it is. Whereas if you are multiplying, then it will become a 1. So that's what. First multiplication happens, right? Then it will convert integer. So that's all. The reason for it is, if I say str of true, did you understand one? And same str of true into 1, did you see it is 1? So that is the reason for it. So this is one of the interesting interview question actually. And similarly like this, so you can do any other operations, whichever you want to do. Now, one big thing that I want to tell in these operations is about, I would say, in my view, this is one of the important thing in the Boolean operations. Bool function. There is something called as Bool function. What is a Bool function? So I would say, okay, I think it created like a folder. So that is a mistake. If you want to create a file, yeah, this one. Bool function. What is a Bool function? How it actually works for us? Bool function works differently for different data types. So till now, what all the data types we have learned at the basic? We have like integers, we have like strings, so none, boolean, and braces. Braces is not a data type, in fact, but that will qualify the things. Now we will see like how Python reacts. This especially bool function reacts for different things differently. Earlier, you remember in short circuiting, I told whenever it encounters a 0, it works differently. For non-zeros, differently, I told, right? For numbers. So how it is actually working is because of this. This bool function, if you pass a integer things like int or float, so if it is a 0, it will say false. If it is a non-zero, it will say true. No matter what big or what small number is, whether it is a positive or negative number, it doesn't matter for it. If it is a 0, it will result false. If it is a non-zero, it will say true. The same thing holds even if you go for like decimal values or anything. Absolutely, is it 0 or not? If I have 0 dot, any number of zeros also, it is a 0. After that, if I say ounce of value, if I have at least one, it's not a 0, right? So that's why it is true. So that is the difference between 0 and non-zero. And similarly, this bool function reacts for strings in a different way. If you go for the strings, you have like, if you're having a string which is having some value, see, ball is one string, even empty string. So white space is there, right? So that is also one white space is a string, but it is empty string. Hope you understood the difference between white space and empty strings. Means having nothing. When you have an empty string, it will be false. At least a white space or any number of characters, it is a true. Similarly, for booleans, for none, it will react like false because none means nothing, right? So for different data types like this, it works differently. Say if I go for boolean now, say true and false, same like them. For true, it will say true. For false, it will say false. And now, if you go further, in Python, I told there were 3 types of braces. One is square braces, one is parentheses, one is flower braces. Say I wrote all the braces. Of course, down the line you learn about. This is called like a ordinary thing. This is a tuple, this is a string list, this is a set, this is a dictionary. You learn about them afterwards. But if you use them, so no matter what data it is part of, but at least if within the braces, if there is one value at least, it will say true. And if there were no values at all within the braces and they are empty, it will say false. Hope now you understood something interesting about how this Boolean function is reacting. Similarly, so when you have a relational operation, based upon the relation result only it will come. So, and the logical operations, whatnot, what all things that you have learned till now. So it will give the same. Anyhow, relational operations, logical operations, all these things will give true or false. For true, it will be true. For false, it will be false. But most important thing that you need to be aware is the data types. Sir, what is the purpose of it? How they can help me? So that is what your next doubt, right? To help you understand, I will give. So real world usage. Everyone expects the same. Real world usage. In terms of usage, let me tell you. Say I defined a name called as name is equal to same again, Uday, I defined. And I want to tell, hey, what is the value of this boolean, right? I defined and I am asking two things. So bull of name, and you see here, I'm printing bull of name. So is name a string? Yes. Is this string an empty string or a values? It is not an empty string. It has some value. So if I say, hey, bull of name or bull of name is not equal to 1. So don't you see both are exactly same, right? Logic. So when user is entering something, okay, I'm asking in runtime. Say this time say name is equal to input of, so enter name. So you are asking the user if name print you entered some name F. So did you understand what I'm trying to say here? Name is not equal to empty. You want to say print it. You see now? See, whenever you're doing in the top, you are getting right. Don't worry. In the top only, you should write enter. Say, if I say the same Uday here and enter. What it is saying? So if name is not equal to empty string, then you print it. That's what you're trying to say. That is a real world. In logic, they write. In real world, not every time they do like this. So in fact, whatever you are doing here, it will go to the Boolean function. Means in real world, you will not use the bool function. But by common sense itself, you will understand. But still, I am telling that there is a function to understand these logics for any beginners. In real world, so if something is not equal to empty means what? See, even bool also calculating the same thing. So if I don't do like this also, I'm indirectly telling the same thing. If I say the same Uday itself, it will execute. Now, did you understand both are same? So here we need to understand on the if condition. In the if condition, here I wrote name not equal to empty string. Instead of writing name not equal to empty string, I can just say if name. Means, so if it is a Boolean true, when it will be Boolean true? If it is not an empty string. So explicitly, instead of you writing, you are telling like this. Hope it's clear?
Uday,
Yes,
yeah.
please.
So for if name not equal to, it automatically understand that this is not equal to empty string.
Yes. If it is an empty
Okay.
string, it won't process it.
Okay, but every condition is like that, not equal to it understand, or for this program as only.
For everything, it works like this. Say, if the same name, if I say physically, I wrote like, say Python, I wrote. If I say name equal to empty string or not equal to empty string, if I say not equal to empty string. Did you see that it is saying true?
Okay.
So if I say just Boolean of name, that also it says true, right? If the same thing, if I say name is equal to empty string, if I say, hey, Boolean of name, if I say, did you say it is saying false?
Yes, yes. Okay.
So I am showing you real world how people use it. They
Okay.
will not explicitly write like not equal to so and so. So they will
Okay.
do directly.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Similarly, let's say we are taking for a numbers. Say number 1 is equal to some value 0.00 so and so. For numbers, what you evaluate? It should be not equal to 0, right? So if I say like, say salary, is equal to, you are asking the user to enter. Salary means you want a floating point value, float of, say input of, say salary is equal to, if salary not equal to 0, then government will come and ask you to pay. You need to pay tax. That's it, right? So government will be ready for that. If I execute, if you are saying like, something, it says like you need to pay tax. So similarly, if I do the same thing without it, that's what I am trying to prove it for you to understand. If I say like 123, it says less. Similarly, if I say same, instead of 123, if I say 0 point n number of zeros, even if I have 100 zeros also, it makes no sense, right? Until it has some value, it says 0. So now you understood. So instead of writing this explicitly, people write like, just a salary. Just salary, they'll write. So boolean of integer means what? Sorry, float, right? Float or integer? Float. Will be true if it is a 0. If it is a non-zero. If it is a true, it will be like that. So instead of explicitly writing, people write like this. Hope you understood. Explicitly writing this is implicitly writing these things. Okay. And also people write like, so implicitly like this. This is also like, different ways. Say this is also like, if 1 means what? 1 is every time true, right? It will every time go. If 0, it will never go. If non-zero, it will every time go. So like that is that, right? But no one will try to very blankly like this. But especially in while loops, they do. Because that is another way I will tell you when you go for while loops. Hope you understood how this works. Any doubt till now for anyone? Okay. So what if user is telling like, now a condition that I have two numbers, right? Number 1 and number 2. If user is telling something, if number 1 is less than 7 and number 1 is less than 8. So by relation itself, you can understand. So bool is a function for you to understand this logic, but you'll never use in real time. So you need not use, because that's what happens in the backend. Just we should be aware, that's it. So when you write like this, how it will check in the backend? So first it will check, hey, boolean of 2 is so and so. So the same thing, whatever we did, number 1 is less than 7, number 1 is less than 8. So then end operation. So end operation means all should be true. Then it will be true. Boolean of true is true. So that is how you got it, right? In the same fashion, if you are doing for the not of the same thing. So not of, again the same logic, not of false is true, boolean of true is true, like that you got it. And in the same fashion, we go further. In down the line, if you see real world, people will do like, crazy logics. If say while 1 means every time it will go and check. Of course, I will tell what is break and all these things when you go for while loops. But this fine. Now, there is one interview question actually. This is very interesting interview question. So very few people answer it correctly. Tell me, what is the difference between boolean of false and boolean of false?